Start before you feel motivated, the science of taking action. Have you ever told yourself, I'll start when I feel motivated? Maybe it's exercising, studying, starting a business, writing a book, or simply tackling an important task you've been putting off. Most of us have been taught to believe that motivation comes first. We think we need inspiration, energy, or excitement before we can take action. But what if that's backwards? What if motivation isn't the cause of action, but the result of it? Today we'll explore why waiting for motivation can keep us stuck and how taking action first can unlock the momentum we need to create lasting change. Welcome to Sustainable Bliss Academy, where we explore the science and practice of sustainable happiness, personal growth, and meaningful living. Let's begin. The motivation myth. One of the most common misconceptions about success is that highly successful people are constantly motivated. We imagine that athletes wake up excited to train every day. We think writers feel inspired whenever they sit down to write. We assume entrepreneurs are always energized and focused. But the reality is very different. Our research in psychology suggests that motivation often follows action rather than preceding it. In other words, people don't necessarily act because they feel motivated. Instead, they become motivated because they start acting. Think about the last time you didn't feel like exercising. The hardest part was probably putting on your shoes and beginning. Yet once you started moving, your energy increased. Your resistance decreased, and continuing became much easier. This is not a coincidence. It's how our brains work. Why starting is so hard? The human brain is designed to conserve energy. From an evolutionary perspective, unnecessary effort could be costly. As a result, our brains naturally resist activities that require effort, uncertainty, or discomfort. This resistance often shows up as procrastination. We tell ourselves, I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not in the right mood. I need more motivation. But often these thoughts are simply the brain's way of avoiding discomfort. The challenge is that motivation rarely arrives while we're waiting. Instead, waiting often strengthens inertia, and inertia has a powerful effect. Objects at rest tend to stay at rest. The same principle often applies to our behavior. The longer we delay action, the harder it becomes to begin. Action creates momentum. Imagine pushing a heavy car. At first, it barely moves. The initial effort feels enormous. But once the car starts rolling, maintaining movement requires much less force. Human behavior works similarly. The beginning is usually the hardest part. Once we start, momentum begins to build. Psychologists sometimes refer to this as behavioral activation. The idea is simple. Action influences emotions. Action influences motivation. Action influences confidence. Many people believe confidence comes before action. But confidence often develops after repeated action. You gain confidence by doing, not by waiting, not by thinking, not by preparing forever, by doing. The power of small steps. One reason people struggle to begin is that they focus on the entire journey instead of the next step. A person wanting to get fit imagines months of workouts. A writer imagines an entire book. An entrepreneur imagines years of effort and uncertainty. The goal feels overwhelming, so they avoid starting. But research consistently shows that breaking tasks into smaller steps increases the likelihood of action. Instead of committing to a 1-hour workout, commit to 5 minutes. Instead of writing a chapter, write 1 paragraph. Instead of cleaning the entire house, clean 1 room. Small actions reduce resistance, and small actions are surprisingly powerful. Every completed action sends a message to your brain. I'm someone who follows through. Over time, these messages shape identity, and identity shapes behavior. Motivation is unreliable. Many people treat motivation as a requirement, but motivation is inherently unstable. Some days you'll feel energized. Other days you'll feel tired, distracted, or discouraged. If you only act when motivation is present, progress becomes inconsistent. This is why discipline and habits matter. Discipline isn't about forcing yourself to suffer. It's about acting according to your values rather than your temporary feelings. Habits reduce the need for motivation altogether. When a behavior becomes habitual, it requires less mental effort. You don't debate whether to do it, you simply do it. The most productive people aren't necessarily the most motivated. They are often the most consistent.